This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by Callum Smith in Liverpool. First time at the Rotunda for myself, Callum, so I appreciate you allowing me to come up today. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, very good. Good gym, innit? Nice gym.
It is indeed, and I've heard a lot about the history of it, so it's good to kind of come up, see yourself, your brothers. How are you finding, firstly, your first training camp with Buddy McGirt?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been very good, to be honest with you, really. Camps aren't enjoyable, it's obviously tough, it's hard work, but I've enjoyed the learning side of it. I feel like, the first week he was correcting me a lot, second week correcting me a little bit less, and then I just felt like I was enjoying going back to the gym and enjoying improving, whereas you kind of get stuck in a bit of a routine, and I felt it was just fresh and new, and obviously being in LA for 5-6 weeks was enjoyable, especially at times like it is now, but I love LA, and being over there was good, and then back over here, back home as I call it, in the Rotunda, it's a good atmosphere. There's a lot of people who are classed as friends who are in here day to day and familiar faces, and it was good to be back home with my home comfort as well. So it's been the best of both worlds, but I've definitely enjoyed it.
Just one question on obviously the link up. We haven't had a chance to catch up since your split with Joe and teaming up with Buddy. Can you just let everybody know as to why you came to that decision?
I just felt, not going into it, there's reasons. I know the reasons, Joe knows the reasons. Just the relationship wasn't what it was a few years ago, and it's as simple as that. I felt I needed to change, I needed to move forward, and there was a lot of options out there. Not a lot of options. There was a few trainers who I like, and there was a few good trainers who said they'd like to train me, which was nice at the time. Obviously coming off a loss, you made me feel wanted again, and made me feel I am still thought of in a good way, but. I had to do what was best for me, and I'd done a little bit of work with Buddy, and I liked what he was telling me, and I liked the ways he put things across, and I feel like as the weeks have gone by, I'm more happy with the decision that I made. He's a very, very knowledgeable coach. He's a very good coach, and I'm not expecting miracles in one fight, but I do believe I have improved as a fighter over the last camp, and over time I do think we'll see a better version of myself. Hopefully we see a lot of improvements on the 25th, but the aim is to win, but I do believe I have improved in certain areas, and I'm a better fighter now than what I was last year.
What in particular, Callum, has Buddy been working on with you that you feel you've benefited from and you can see those improvements?
It might just I think it's just very slight adjustments on certain things, the position of my feet, where I am in the ring, when to throw certain shots and when not to throw certain shots, and it was just a lot intelligent wise on again, a lot was on my position and keeping my distance right and having the right distance when letting certain shots go, and just improving my jab. For a tall fighter, I believe my jab could be better, and I believe it has got better, and just certain little things. But I say there's sometimes someone will tell you something and deep down you don't really agree, but I was trying it, and I knew everything he was saying to me was correct, and it's been good, it's been enjoyable. I say the first week I felt like I'm retired, and I felt like I should get on the plane and go back home. I felt useless, but I always felt like I was having to prove myself, make him think, does he think I'm a good fighter or not, and I do feel that always, when you've got that in you, you've got to impress someone, you've got to try hard each day, then I do feel it's brought out a little bit more in me.
That's a question which I put to Buddy earlier. Obviously you achieved a lot as super middleweight. I imagine you've done well financially out of boxing as well, so on that aspect there wasn't necessarily a need for you to come back, and it's just a question of your hunger and your desire to become a two-weight world champion. Did you ever question yourself whether that hunger or desire was there before coming back now?
No, not really. It's like I say, it's just different reasons for why. When you're doing it, and you need a reason why you're doing it. And mine was always, I want to be a world champion, and I think most people is I want to secure my future. This is my job at the end of the day, and when I tick both of those off, you kind of need other reasons why. And if I was to retire now, I've had a great career, say world champion, Ring Magazine champion, but do I feel in a couple of years' time I'd sit back and think as much as I have achieved, as I probably underachieved, then yeah, I do believe I'm capable of achieving more, and I feel I've just got to give it me all and just get everything I can out of my career, and I feel that's why I'm sitting here now. I believe I'm good enough to be a two-weight world champion. If I didn't, I'd have been happy with what I'd achieved and call it quits, but I do believe I had to kick myself and know that I was good enough to be a two-weight world champion, and I'm going to give it a go, and I fully believe I can do it.
Let's come on to Lenin Castillo then. Your opponent next weekend. He's fought the likes of Dimitri Bivol, Marcus Brown. How much of him have you studied? Have you looked at those fights in particular at all?
No, I remember watching the Bivol one at the time. I think he was meant to go on the golden contract, I think, and I remember watching the fight. I didn't pay too much attention to it. Obviously, I didn't know I was gonna fight him in the future, but from the little bits I've seen, he's not a bad fighter. He's tall, good jab, looks heavy-handed. Not the easiest to hit. He's defensively pretty good, and he's kind of hard to look good against. Bivol beat him well on the scorecards, but the fight was actually not close, but he was making Bivol have to work for each round. There wasn't a lot that happened in the fight, but it's a good fight. It's a good beat him. It's not like I'm coming and beating some former journeyman. I'm beating a good fighter who's been in box for a world title. So it's a good step into the division, and will put me one step closer to where I want to be.
With this fight, I asked Buddy again this earlier, is it a fight where you feel like you need to make a statement up at 175, or it's just more so your first fight with a new trainer, getting that relationship in the corner and just make sure you come away with a victory and just settling into the weight? Yeah,
both really. Obviously the victory is the most important thing, and gelling with Buddy, and that was my first fight with Buddy. Obviously the first camp, first fight, and a lot of that needs to be ticked. But every fight you're always trying, if you can make a statement, you want to do it. I don't want to go and have a boring points win. I want to look good. I want people to speak about me after it, and so I do believe he'll be a world champion. I do believe he can beat your Bivol, your better Bevs and Smith. So you're always wanting to make a statement, but first and foremost, this is about just getting back to winning ways, and I say starting a good relationship with Buddy, and one that I believe will finish as a world champion.
Those extra £7, Callum, how much of a benefit do you think it will be for you not needing to crash down? Because I'm sure you're probably fed up of hearing that. Everybody used to say how big you was at 168. So how much do you feel you'll benefit having that extra bit of weight to play with up at 175?
Yeah, I do. I believe I benefit. I believe, I was a huge 168. I'll still be a big 175. I just think that the extra few pounds probably come at the right time. I think I was just getting to the end of my time at 168, and during this camp now, bringing my weight down, I'm thinking I wouldn't make 168 again, whereas it was getting a little bit tougher as each fight, but I was getting a little bit more, and my team was getting better, a good nutritionist, and I was doing everything correct, and I was making it, I was still performing, and I always said the minute it was starting to affect my performances, it was be the time to move up, and with losing and everything, it just seemed like the perfect time to move up, and like I say, I feel good. I've had a good camp, I feel good, I feel strong, and I'm looking forward to see myself at 175. It's somewhere where I've always envisioned myself being. I just didn't know when, and now's the time, and it's exciting.
As we've said, we know you've got those ambitions and desires to become a two-weight world champion, but domestically, there's always been talk about that division, and there's numerous fights out there. Is there anybody domestically you do look at and you think, I'd like to mix it with them?
Not really, no. Again, I've never called anyone out, and no, not against. I think that the fighters you're on about, I wouldn't really. The British fighters, but they're not domestic level. They're all at the same. They're all pushing on for world titles. They all want to be world champion, and that's where I want to be. And I can beat Lenin Castillo. If my next fight for a world title is for a world title. If you have to have one more than a world title or two more, I don't know. That's down to my team. But my goal and my sights are on the three champions, and whoever I beat, whoever my team put in front of me in the meantime to get there, I believe I'll do so. But I'm going to sit and I like that fight. This fight, I'm entering a division where I'm aiming for the top three, and I'll fight whoever I need to get there.
The current title is obviously being Bivol, Beterbiev and Joe Smith Jr. Is there anybody out of those three who you look at and think, try and get that one quicker than the others? Or
I think it depends. Obviously, Bivol's with Matchroom, so that should be probably the easiest one to make. Joe Smith, I think he's top rank, and I think Beterbiev is as well. So they're probably a little bit harder to make, but I don't know. I think you'd always like to think that fights will be made regardless of who's with what, and if I can get good rankings, then I can get one of the fights. But either of them, I don't mind. They're three very good fighters. They all deserve to be champion, and I say I've seen them all fight. They're all good at what they do. But do I believe I can beat any of them? Yeah, I do, and I just need to work to get myself in a position to get that opportunity, and then deliver on the night and be a two-weight world champion, and that's a big motivation of mine, and it's one that I'm looking to take the first steps towards on the 25th.
Beterbiev and Marcus Brown are actually going to Perspids later this month. I think it's on the 28th, so only a few days after you fight. That one obviously you imagine goes ahead. What's your take on it?
Marcus Brown's a good fighter, to be honest with you. I remember watching him in the 2012 Olympics. He's a good slick southpaw, and he was making a lot of noise when he first turned professional, and then he kind of went a bit quiet, and then obviously the Pascal loss was a bit of a shock. I don't know I think we'll only know over the next few fights how much you read into the Pascal fight. Does he hold a shot not so good, or was it just he got caught on a bad night? We don't know, but skill-wise he's a very, very good fighter, and Betibev, we all know what he's about. He's good technically, he's very, very heavy-handed, he's a good fighter, but he's not getting any younger, and at some point I think age is going to start to slow him down. So it's a good fight. I think it depends on the night what Betibev's like and what Marcus Brown turns up, but it's definitely one of the better fights to be made in the division.
Just a few other boxing topics and get your thoughts on before I do let you go, Callum. Obviously you're boxing on the Anthony Joshua-Usyk undercard. What's your take on that headline event?
It's a good fight, a very good fight. It's a fight I've always liked to see, and as much as I think we were all disappointed when Fury Joshua didn't happen, it's a good fight to get. Instead, I think Usyk's a very, very good fighter. He's got all the skills in the world, as we've seen at cruiserweight. I think Joshua's still improving all the time. His boxing ability is getting a lot better. I don't think people give him the credit for his boxing ability. He can obviously punch, and I think the big question mark is, does Usyk hold a shot off a genuine big punching heavyweight like Joshua? And I think that's the intriguing side of it, and hopefully I can know my fight goes to plan and I can sit back and enjoy a very, very good fight with two world-class operators.
Well, I mean, last time you was on an Anthony Joshua undercard, we saw that upset defeat out in New York, so you've got to hope that you're not a bad omen.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully it's gets the similar excitement, but obviously, hopefully Joshua will win this time. But it's a really, really good fight. It's two world-class operators, and it's not a bad replacement for the fight we all wanted.
Of course, your brother Liam's training today, getting ready for his bout with Anthony Fowler. What do you make of it, and how big of a fight is it for Liverpool?
It's a big fight for Liverpool. It's good. I think it's a big fight in general, but especially after the pandemic, to get the arena filled and packed out, and it's given the city a sporting event to get excited about. So it's definitely big for the city, and everywhere you go, people are talking about it, and it's got everyone splitting sides on who they're supporting and who they think's going to win. So it's good, and as a fighter, that's always good to be involved in. There's a bit more interest around your fight rather than being on an undercard or fighting someone foreign who no one really knows. You can probably fight, but your man on the street doesn't really know it. So it's good, and I've seen a difference in Liam in camp. He's got a little bit bragging rights. They hold a lot of weight in boxing, and he's got that little bit between his teeth, and his camp's going really well, and he's looking forward to it. And I just think the best version of Liam beats Anthony Fowler and beats him well. Hopefully we'll see the best version of Liam, and that'll be the plan.
I spoke to Liam the day after the fight was announced, and he said get through those first 4 or 5 rounds, and he's confident he'll walk Anthony down and eventually be able to stop him. Do you echo those words?
Yeah, I think any fight at a decent level, you've got to show respect early on. Fowler's been a very, very good amateur. He's an Olympian, combat gold medalist. He can obviously box. He's got skills, and he's heavy-handed, so he'll be sharp for 3-4 rounds. And I just think, is he a distance fighter? I don't think we've seen that just yet. And does he carry the same power late on? We haven't seen that just yet. Whereas I think Liam's shown he comes into a fighting event and he gets stronger as the rounds are going on. I've sparred him, and I know that firsthand. So I think the second half of the fight will be Liam's fight, but the first fight will be interesting. I think it will be competitive early on, and then I think Liam takes over. But listen, a fight, anything could happen. It could end in 1 round for Liam. You don't really know. It's just, it all depends on the night. But ideally, I think that's probably where the fight will pan out.
Canelo Plant, November 6th. Is Caleb the one who can overcome Canelo at super middleweight? Possibly.
Look, he's a good fighter. He's got very, very good skills. He's a champion for a reason. Personally, I don't think he's got enough power or physical strength to get Canelo's respect. I think he's got the skills and the movement, but a bit similar to the Billy Joe. You've got to know all the skills, but can you keep someone like Canelo off for 12 rounds? And if you're not hitting him and hurting him, then sooner or later he's not respect what's coming. He's going to just jump on you. But it's a good fight. It's the undisputed. You don't really get many bad undisputed fights here. But I'm looking forward to it as a boxing fan. But I think Canelo beats him. I think he's just a little bit too strong and too smart.
Callum, there's always that potential possibility. Let's say if you become a world champion at 175, if Canelo was to become undisputed, people would imagine he'll look to move up. Would you entertain a rematch at 175?
Yeah, I'd love a rematch. Listen, obviously he beat me well. There's no excuses last time, but I do believe we'll see a better version of me at 175, of course. And that's I've always said my only regret on the fight is we never got to see the best version of me and with him. What the fight would be like, I don't know. But look, he beat me, but I didn't perform on the night, and that's down to me. That's on me. But look, if I was offered the fight at 175, I'd jump at it again if I was a world champion. But I'm not gonna hold your breath on that one. But look, I do believe he will move up at some point, or maybe back down. I think he'll go wherever he wants to be honest with you. But yeah, I think you'll see a better version of me at 175. You may see a better version of him at 175. You don't know, but you'll definitely see a better version of me.
There's some kind of back and forth between Billy Joe Saunders and Chris Eubank Jr. Once again, Callum, would you be interested to see them pair rematch?
Yeah, again, it's the same with the old Groves de Gale or Brooke Eubank. I think when you've got bad blood, regardless of what stage of the career, there's always some form of interest. I think it would have been a bit more interest if Billy Joe was still a world champion, and the same with Brooke and Khan. When they were world champion, it was obviously a better fight. But when there's needle and bad blood, and the build-up's exciting, people are paid to watch anything. So yeah, listen, there's interest. Does it happen? I don't think so. But I say, as a boxing fan, it's good for boxing. Whether it happens or not, we'll have to wait and see.
Final thing, Callum, I'm sure yourself, like everybody else, has either seen just a clip of it or you may have watched the fight. The unfortunate ending for Evander Holyfield last week against Vitor Belfort, first round stoppage defeat. Just wanted to get your take on seeing Evander's return and obviously what happened during that fight.
Yeah, it's just sad really. He's an unbelievable fighter, probably the best cruiserweight ever, and obviously a heavyweight world champion. It's just sad to see the fact that they feel they need to come back and do something or prove something, or if it's money or anything like that, then even more so. It's just the career you've had, just be happy with what you've done. And I'd like to think at the end of my career, if I'm fully satisfied, you wouldn't pay me enough money to come back in a few years once you're old and that. It's just sad to see them doing it, but the more they're doing it and you're seeing the money they're making, it's probably making other people think, well, I could do that kind of thing. But hopefully the Holyfield one will start to make the commissions and whatnot clamp down and say, it's still fighting at the end of the day, whether you call it an exhibition or not, they're still taking punches. So I don't like to see it, to be honest with you. I like to see, if two footballers want to do a white collar for charity, I'm all for that if anyone wants to get in the ring. But when you've got 58-year-old men getting in the ring, it's not nice to see, especially a legend like Holyfield going out like that.
Right, Callum, we will leave it there now. Leave you to enjoy the rest of your day and of course get ready for next weekend. I will catch you next week in London, so I appreciate your time. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Andi, thank you.